Hi friends, strangers, internet. My name is EmilyHanhan. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. And today I'm here with another little bit of a rant and thoughts about fat fashion. Well, fast fashion as a fat person, and how a lot of the judgments that are lobbed at us for buying fast fashion are just not fucking fair. And while I know the world isn't fair, I can still rant about it. If you are new here and you like colorful makeup, bitches with lots of opinions, or cute fat babes in general, I hope you subscribe, and definitely find me on all of my social media stuff linked in the description box. I will also have all of the makeup that I'm using on my face in the description box, because I'm not really going to be talking about it while I'm ranting, but you will see the look come together. You will also hear all of the background noise, because that's how it goes around here. So if you're interested in hearing my fast fashion as a fat person related rants and thoughts, just keep watching. I'm back with another sunset get ready with me, meaning the sun is setting outside, and I'm gonna talk to y'all. I need to talk about fast fashion as a fat person and the necessity for it. Okay, we're talking about that today. So I've been thinking about this a lot. First of all, the discussion about fast fashion is a pretty complex one. So I'm not going to sit here and be able to argue for, in all of the complexity of it. I'm probably going to gloss over a lot of bigger issues. It's definitely a conversation with a lot of nuance and a lot of different perspectives. But I wanted to throw my hat in the ring for kind of my current take as a fat person for life. I say that because that has a very important part in this conversation. I have spent the majority of my life without a lot of clothing options, and I spent a lot of my developing years without autonomy of choices. But because I am 36, I grew up in the suburbs, my clothing options growing up were not a lot. I basically wore a lot from department stores. I had Fashion Bug, and I had a store called Added Dimensions, which sounds just like it is. Well, maybe you don't know what that sounds like. I just had experience after experience after experience of just very unstylish clothes. In a lot of ways, what I am experiencing now, literally in my 30s, in my late 30s, to be clear, I'm calling it like adult adolescence. And I'm calling it adult adolescence specifically about style and clothes, because in a lot of the ways in which I had friends get to experiment with their style, get to try out things, even if they were rebelling against their parents and their parents didn't agree with it, they had the actual ability to do that. I just didn't. Whether it was options, aka none, or it was like a lack of bravery. But the reality is it was options and money. And here's the thing, options and money are still an issue. But just now, am I at a place in terms of options where I can go looking for different styles and find things to play around with? for me, like, I didn't have the access to play in the past, and now money is still an issue. Money is still a barrier. So for me, fast fashion gives me this ability to play with my style and actually figure out what the fuck my style is. I don't really know, and I never really felt like I had the ability to define my style because I didn't have options to play with. You know, I couldn't even think about, oh, would I be into maybe more masculine touches, or like, would I like this or would I like that? Because I just didn't have them. I didn't have them available to me. And I'm still in a place where I cannot afford these super expensive brands just to play with my style. And I shouldn't honestly have to. Fat people should not have to only shop ethically because fast fashion is terrible. Like, the way I see, in particular, fat creators get shit for shopping and showing fast fashion brands, you don't see, like, the girlies get that kind of shit when they're below a size, 12. I personally don't see it. Not that I follow a lot of those creators, but I haven't seen it the way I see it when it comes to both fat influencers and just fat people on the internet. I get really frustrated when the discussion about fast fashion gets narrowed down to, well, it's unethical, so you shouldn't do it. Editing Emily popping in to clarify. A lot of fast fashion purchases are the first dose of joy, creativity, playfulness, freedom for fat people with their clothing. We do not owe the world quote unquote ethical clothing choices in exchange for our joy when corporations have set this entire planet on fire. No matter the quality of the fast fashion thing, because we all know there's some questionable fucking quality. And there's questionable pricing. There's a lot of questionable shit, basically. But when I'm able to pick up something on a whim, that was not an option, I'm gonna say, at least 10 years ago, maybe even sooner than that. Does it still suck that so much of it is online? Abso-fucking-lutely it does. But at the same time, the option to be able to play, to be able to try on different shapes, different fabrics, different patterns, different cuts, shapes, cuts, whatever, that's still new. That is still fucking new. It feels like a little gift. It's not something I take lightly. It's not like being able to just decide between, do I feel more goth? Do I feel more like princess? Do I feel more utilitarian? Do I feel more like preppy? I literally never had those options. I never had those options before. Now I do. And I'm still in the process of figuring out what is my style. I don't know if I'll ever have a singular word or label for it, but knowing that I can play around with clothes and try things on that I never even imagined having the option to put on is fucking life-changing, okay? Like, so many people don't get it. And I'm gonna say so many people because that includes younger fat people. Like, when you live your life where you've always had, even torrid was such a step up in terms of options. And I say that now, knowing that any fat person watching this knows how fucking shitty torrid is. Like, we know that. But the first time I lived in a place where I had a torrid near me, which wasn't even that near me at the time, and I don't think I've ever really lived that close to a torrid, but it was like life-changing in a way. It's still way overpriced. I would say clothing options have definitely increased over the last 10 years, and especially in the last 5 years. And for a really long time, I never bought from Fashion Nova. I never bought from Boohoo. I would buy from ASOS here and there. Basically, I shopped a lot at Target, and every once in a while I would hit up Torrid on a super sale because they had like one cut of denim that actually fit me. I've now since renounced all denim. Fuck jeans. We're not doing that in this household. And just a couple of months ago, I put in an order at Shein. I got bathing suits and my one little top, my weird but cute top that I have. And the reality of it is that I will be shopping there again. I'm gonna be really blunt about that. Here's the part about this conversation that I don't want to skip over. I know that a lot of these super fast fashion brands have a lot of fucked up shit happening in them. I've seen just recently how Shein blatantly stole a design from a brand called Loud Bodies that does like a pretty extensive size range. I've seen a lot of discussions about how a lot of these brands have their like models or influencers who are bigger either squeeze into things, cut the backs out and take photos, like all of this really fucked up shit. None of this conversation is to say all of that is excusable. They need to be doing better. But at the same time, fat people deserve to have fun with their clothes, and they deserve to be able to play and actually find a style or styles that excite them. Literally just thinking that I could own clothes that give me just a droplet of excitement is still to this day a thought I don't fully grasp. It's still one of those things that I'm like, yeah, I guess that's possible. And because for the longest time, I didn't, like, I would try to shop in the Forever 21 plus size section. It never was actually big enough because for me, their largest size, at least before all the stores closed down, never really fit me. So for the longest time, I didn't want to try, a brand like Fashion Nova or Shein or any of these other ones where I couldn't really trust the size chart. I was like, I don't want to spend money. I've heard the horror stories when it comes to returns, in particular with Fashion Nova, and I didn't want to go down that like rabbit hole of basically being stuck with store credits for, a site that doesn't fucking cater to me. And so just in the last 6 months, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try. I spent like $100, which is honestly more than I wanted to spend, even on bullshit swimsuits. Now, I'm generally happy with my decision, and I will generally consider Shein or maybe some of these other shops or stores in the future, because I can play. I can buy something and not be 100% sure if the style suits me. And because here's the other part of it, is every single time I would see something at Torrid or even on ASOS that I wasn't totally comfortable with, but I was curious about, I just never felt like I could financially take that risk. Or I was like, I can't financially afford to buy a shirt that I would only wear for filming, or I would only wear for going out. Like, my clothes have to be functional with where I work. And obviously the panini and all of that and freelancing has changed that in some capacity, but it's still a factor. If for some reason I started having to have Zoom meetings 5 days a week, the options of what I would buy would go way down because of professionalism, whatever that bullshit is. But if I just want to fuck around and try something, I can, and I'm not super worried about being out so much money from something I'm not happy with, or something that pushes me just that bit too far outside of my comfort zone. And fat people deserve to be able to do that. And for a lot of us, we did not have the options, the money, the ability, the autonomy, any mix of these things to do that when we were younger. When, you think about like clothing for teenagers and those like kind of, I don't want to call them throwaway brands, but just fast fashion that is more kind of for teenage bodies. We didn't have those options. So yes, in 2021, should these brands be doing better? Yes, they should. But fat people should be able to shop at these brands and not be attacked on a regular basis for doing so. And actually, I want to clarify, for a lot of us, these fast fashion brands aren't just experimental clothes. They are day-to-day clothes, because clothing is fucking expensive. And this goes into the other point I wanted to make. So I get really fucking frustrated with the fast fashion conversation when it comes to the shame that's put on people for shopping fast fashion. And I'm saying this with the perspective as a fat person, but this might be true for smaller sizes too. I don't fucking care, actually. I was gonna say I don't know, but I don't fucking care. But the thing I wanted to mention is that there are so many clothing brands that are charging an arm and a leg, and their clothes are not ethically made. By the way, that whole phrase is in general, I don't believe in. I'm just gonna say that. But the reality is that shopping ethically is not going from spending $5 on a shirt to $25 on a shirt. No, it's going from spending $5 to $100. A lot of these brands they feel a little bit more prestige. They're supposed to feel nicer. They are still mass manufactured fast fashion. So why am I giving Torrid or even Universal Standard all of this money for a piece of clothing when I don't necessarily believe the impact on the earth is much different from these cheaper brands? The quality might be comparably different, like it might be a step up, but oftentimes it's not even a full step up. It's like just a little. I'm sure that light died quite a long time ago. Oh well. I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. So yeah, I think that's also a really big part of this. A lot of these brands that are charging what I would say are an arm and a leg, they are not producing in some far more ethical way. They're not being, you know, drastically more size inclusive outside of the handful of brands that are. And I will say that, like, Universal Standard is one of them, although, like I said, they have a lot of shit to them, and yeah, I'm just not gonna go into that right now. I don't say this to be an asshole, but, like, Google is your friend. Also, I am a fabric nerd. Like, I studied that in school. So when I see people saying, oh, you should, you know, check out this brand or that brand, and then I see they're using these same bullshit synthetic fabric blends or a single, you know, like a rayon or whatever, but they're still synthetic, I'm like, it's not any magically better or different than a lot of these cheaper brands. And I'm not mad at anyone that's shopping at any of these brands, any of them. I'm not. If there are brands that are more expensive, but, like, I would say, oh, they're using same fabrics as cheaper brands, but you love what you've bought from them and you love supporting them, fucking go for it. Awesome. I am not upset about that. But what I'm upset about is them being used as recommendations, as, like, a next step up, a better choice. And I'm like, better to whom? Because that part I don't really know. So I think I was saying that everyone deserves to be able to enjoy what they enjoy. So yes, if you're buying more expensive clothes and it brings you joy in whatever way it does, I'm so fucking happy for that. I truly am. Being a fat person and just getting any bit of joy out of your clothes is a serious miracle in my book. So enjoy it, but also let the people that are shopping from these fast fashion brands enjoy their clothes as well. And the last little point I do want to mention is that this also doesn't excuse influencers and their influence, because just as much as I want people to stop shaming and judging fat people for shopping at these fast fashion brands, I also want to see the end of the $1,000 Shein haul, $1,000 Fashion Nova haul. Most of these are gifted hauls, and what you're doing is setting up this precedent of making people feel like that is a normal thing. Spending $500 or $1,000 in one fell swoop is a normal thing. But that is not normal for most people. That is not the kind of shopping most of us can do. So yes, let people buy what they want, what they can afford, what brings them joy. Fast fashion brands, do better and stop literally stealing designs from small creative brands. And also, influencers, do better. Buy the fast fashion shit or show it as a gifted, you know, situation, but stop turning the $500 or $1,000 shopping spree into this regular video that people are doing more than one time, because that is also some toxic shit. And that is my finished look, and I hope you enjoyed. If you are not subscribed and you like listening to all of my rantings, I would love to have you as a new subscriber of the HanHan fam. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at Nomnivorous. You can find me all over the internet. There's lots of links and things in the description box. And let me know, like, do you have any favorite brands if you're a fat person? Do you have any brands that maybe are smaller, you know, independent brands perhaps that are doing price points that are not super high? I also think that independent handmade clothing has the right to charge whatever the fuck they want to charge for those clothes. by the way, because that's hard work. But definitely share in the comments any thoughts, any brands, any feelings, whatever. I love hearing from y'all. And most importantly, take care of yourself today better than you did yesterday. Take care of yourself better today than you did yesterday. That's it. Because you are worth it. Bye, friends.